Hey guys, it's Tisha, and we're going to be making this flower using template number 1. This was a requested video. So here I'm showing you a way to measure your petal to your base. Your largest petal needs to be slightly bigger than one side of your base. Each layer of this flower, we're going to use 6 petals. So I like to cut extra. I usually just pick out the best cuts and set the extra to the side. Now you can choose to slightly curl the tips of your petal. I usually curl one side and then the other, and it's just a slight little lip. That's an optional touch. You can leave the petals straight and they'll stand up and give you a slightly different look. The tool that I'm using here is called a bone folder. They come in different sizes. You can pick them up at any craft store, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. You can even use the edge of your scissors, an envelope opener. You kind of get used to using what you have. I prefer my bone folder, and I can use this particular one to curl multiple petals at the same time, which speeds up my process. Here we're going to cut directly in the center of our petals. For the smaller petals, I usually cut a little bit over an inch, about 1.5 inches, and for the larger petals, it's a little bit closer to 2 inches. I'm not big on measuring. I like to do it by eyeballing it. You just don't want to cut more than half. Now the trick to this particular flower style is to just slightly overlap the 2 flaps. Typically you'll see me do a big fold, a big double over with my edges. That's not what you want to do with this petal. So if you look, it's just a slight little crossover. It almost still lays flat. Now typically this is where I will speed the video up, but since this video was specifically requested by a template client, I'm going to just let you guys kind of watch me repeat all these steps on all 6 petals. So here's where we're going to start laying down our layers, and you always start on the outer edge of your base with your largest petal and work your way in. So if you see now, we started off with a petal that was slightly wider than one side of the base, and now it fits perfectly. Usually you can get every petal to perfectly fit your base if you follow that technique. It doesn't matter about the inches. If you follow that technique, you'll usually get it right. ways to lay your petals, and if you have watched any of my videos before, you know that this is the way that I lay all of my petals. I do 2 opposite sizes, and I lay down half of the petal so that I can then kind of fit the other 2 in and try to make sure that I have them evenly spaced. It just makes it easier when you get to the other side of the flower. A lot of times it's hard to eyeball how your flower is going to look and get your spacing right, and I'm not big on taking out a ruler and putting little dashes and lines. This has worked for me. Most of my flowers are just perfectly symmetrical, and even when they're not, it's off by just such a small amount that you really can't tell. So I half glue the first 2 petals, and then the rest of the petals I go ahead and glue them down. And you want to overlap in the same pattern. So if you do under over, it's always under over under over, or if it's over under, then it's always over under over under. So however you start the pattern, that's how you want to continue to lay all of the petals. Now we're going to go ahead and lay our second layer of petals, and you're going to line them up between 2 petals in the first layer. This gives your flower a nice even look instead of all of the petals blending in together when you have a finished product. Where I'm going to make a mistake. I dropped this petal and got glue on another set of petals. I did not edit this out because I want to show you this happens in real life, what you can do to fix that. You can't leave that glue there like that. So remember those extra petals that we had? This is when they come in handy, because then you just prepare one and you replace. This happens in real life. Professional, new, it doesn't matter, but this is what you can do to fix it. Here, as you're removing that petal, it's paper and it is glue. You don't want to destroy the rest of your flower working that other petal loose. So you just wiggle it gently and hold down the paper, and it should just come right out. All done. Now, if you want to add more layers in there, this is when you can do that. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm only going to do the 2 layers. I'm going to stop right here. I do want to point out that that big hole in the center, I would not usually leave a flower that big. I would go ahead and fill it in, especially because my center has a much smaller circle. You don't want to have that big of a circle there. So I usually fill it in, and then I test my center, and when I get enough layers to make that center work, that's where I will stop. So now you can go ahead and decide what kind of center you want in the middle of this flower. If you're going to use a rolled center, you probably can stop here. But if you're going to use the cutout centers, which are also available at my Etsy, www.etsy.com shop/GoldenTouchPP, you can go ahead and choose your sizes. If you want to layer 2 different sizes, that gives a real pretty effect. So what you can do is you would pick out your centers. They can be the same color, they can be different colors, and you would just fill them in. And here I chose to use a big black center because that circle covers my hole. So I would glue it, and then I would place it down just like that, and then I would layer a smaller center on top. And even these colors, I mean, that's really pretty. So that's really all that you have to do if you want to get that look, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching my video. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up and also subscribe.